Hello YouTube, it is Cuber, attempting to make a tutorial for the OK Who Broke It effect for the fourth time. Apparently, the breaking of logos has spread to the breaking of tutorials, and I have been fighting with software and sound and things for quite a while. I apologize for the 2-day drought. But I have been trying to make this tutorial happen. I've just been running into multiple issues. As you can see by our friend in the corner here, that I have resorted to some pretty ancient software in order to finally make this work. Old reliable, as they say, I guess. So, OK Who Broke It? OK Who Broke It? This is an effect that I made a long time ago. I want to say it was around 2011, 2012. One of my first Vegas effects that I used repeatedly. And OK Who Broke It? It doesn't really have a specific purpose. It's just made to make the video look and sound super duper wacky. It's got crazy colors. It's got a lot of motion. You can probably tell by just the name itself that I'm basically just trying to ruin whatever the source material is. Not make it look prettier or anything, just make it look really wacky and weird. This is one of my more straightforward effects, I would say. It's pretty simple, and I know you can do this in Vegas Pro 18 and Vegas Pro 12. I think you can do it in 10 as well. So today I'm going to be using Vegas Pro 18. Now, things will take a while because things are slow enough on the Windows partition of this computer, but I am also recording while I am making this video, so that's going to add a little bit of extra lag. Luckily, it doesn't seem like it's too bad. It looks like things are loading okay. Not that you can see it, because I've censored the splash screen. But it's still, things might be a little bit laggy. The quality is going to be a little low, so that I can record this as a reasonable speed. But I still think that you will be able to get all the information you need to replicate this effect. Looks like Vegas is almost ready. Okay, there we go. The last session did not complete properly. I don't care. I don't care about this news. Stop showing me this message. I don't want to restore the autosave project. This was my previous tutorial, which didn't go so well. It didn't look good. So let's set the quality to draft quarter and just make a new project. Oh, it's not responding already. Yeah, let's just make a new project. Not deal with this madness. Okay, not responding again. Isn't this fun? I'm already breaking things. So, I'm going to show you how I do this effect. I want to make clear that whenever I show my effects, I'm not trying to force my viewers into a situation where they feel like they have to follow my exact steps. I mean, like I said, the entire purpose of this effect is just to make the video look kind of wacky and weird. So, if you want to apply this effect, you don't have to apply it straight. Hopefully there's something informative you can take from this tutorial that you may use as a basis for your own version of this effect. But I am going to show you how I go about it. So I'm going to use the Ava Nippon logo again, even though I already made this video, because the colors required for this effect can be a little bit picky. My last attempt, I actually tried using the Elektra Entertainment 88 logo, and the colors were really not that good. Do I want to set the... No, I usually don't. So generally speaking, this effect works better when we are dealing with a source video that is in 4:3 ratio, so full screen, and we're rendering a 16:9 video, so widescreen. So usually this works well with older logos or just older clips in general. It's not to say that you have to use a 4:3 video, but I tend to think that there's, part of the effect is having one of the 4:3 tracks uncropped. And you'll see more about that in a minute. So I know the colors work well for this particular logo. I'm just going to move to the end so that we can see the whole title. So the first thing I'm going to do is, actually maybe not the first thing I'll do. I won't duplicate the track yet. We are going to add 2 effects to the track, specifically to the track, not to the video event. So I'm first going to add color curves, and then I'm going to add TV Simulator. So let's turn off TV Simulator for now. Color curves, we are going to apply the preset infrared. We don't have to change anything else, just apply the preset infrared. And then TV Simulator, we will turn this on, but we're going to use the preset reset to none. And then the only thing we're going to change is the line sync. So I usually do anything around 0.7. Usually something around like 0.65 to 0.75 is fine. We just want the video to be wobbly. So I'll just play it now to show you what it currently looks like. Alright, looking good. So we got a video with weird colors and a wobbly effect. I'll actually show you now why I specifically wanted to add these to the track. Let me turn off TV Simulator here, and I'll add it to the video event. So let's reset this to none, and then change the line sync to 0.7. Now we can see that the wobbly effect is still there, but where the video gets cropped out, it actually wraps around instead of going in and out of this empty space. So that's why we don't want to apply TV Simulator to the event. We want to apply it to the track. So now that I've added these 2 effects, I'm going to duplicate the track so that we have 2 of the exact same copy. So typically what I like is for the track on top to have more of a red color and the track on the bottom to have more of a blue color. So with the infrared color curves preset, it tends to map darker colors to blue and green and lighter colors to red and yellow, sort of like a heat map, hence the name. So I want this video on top to be more red. So I'm gonna, turning off the bottom track doesn't really do anything for now. But that's okay. I'm gonna look at just the top track for now. I'm going to add, in order to fix the fact that this video is mostly blue, I'm going to add the invert effect. Now, because color curves is going to map the lighter colors to red and yellow, I'm actually going to move the invert effect so that it comes before color curves. So it's going to be at the very front. And now the video looks more red. And honestly, I think these colors look kind of cool. I was very pleased with this. Honestly, both the color curves with invert and without invert, both of them I thought looked really neat for this particular logo. So if there's any inspiration to be had from these 2 color schemes, feel free to use it. I was pretty happy with how this turned out, but I digress. I added the invert effect to one of the tracks. I'm always going to add the invert effect to one of the tracks, and I'm going to add it at the very beginning. It doesn't matter which one. The general guideline that I use is whichever one needs the invert effect to become more red should be, what I meant to say is the track on the top should be more red. So if it needs the invert effect to become more red, then put it there. If it doesn't, put it on the other one. So now we're done with this track. We're only going to look at the bottom one now. This one we're not going to add the invert effect because we already added it to the top one. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to change the cropping. So we want the second track, the one that's going to be on the bottom, to fill the entire screen, and we want it to be skewed at a funny angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the cropping to a 16:9 aspect ratio, and then we're going to bring in the size a little bit and rotate it in a certain direction. Now we don't want to rotate it so much that the cropping rectangle goes outside the video. So I'd say something like this is reasonable. You could do it the other way too. You could bring it in maybe a little bit more because there's some extra like unwanted borders that are actually part of the video. So something like this is okay. No strict guidelines on the size to use or the rotation to use. But anyway, this track looks good, so I'm going to call it here. And now to bring the two tracks together is I'm going to take the opacity of the top track and bring it down to 50. So now we have the two tracks superimposed. We have the one is in full view. I guess letterboxing is the term for when you can see outside the edges, but it's also wobbly. And the one beneath it has the opposite direction color curves, and it's filling the whole screen. So let's just play this now. So as you can see, this video is now looking very broken, and that's the point. So we're almost done with the video effect. That was really most of the heavy lifting. The only thing that I'm going to do now is I am going to add some transitions to the beginning and the end of both the tracks in order to kind of mess it up even more, so to speak. So generally what I like to do is I like to go to the transitions and I go to the gradient wipes. I look at the transitions that are kind of complicated, that involve a lot of weird motion. So ones like nebulous work well, puzzle pieces work well, something like star and heart wouldn't work well because that's just a simple shape. And I like to apply 4 different transitions. I like to apply one to the beginning of each and one to the end of each, so 4 total. So going from memory here, I'm trying to remember what I did last time. I think it was, and again, you can mix and match, so you don't have to use these 4 transitions specifically. Ooh, floral growth is kind of cool. But what I think I did last time is paint splatter to introduce the top track. Why'd it go to both of them? Yeah, I think that's weird that it goes to both of them by default. So paint splatter to introduce the top track, and turbulent noise, I think, to introduce the bottom one. And I usually just go with the defaults, and then to exit the top track, I think I did nebulous in the last time I did the transitions. I think the last video I made I actually forgot to do this, but the second to last one I used nebulous to exit the top track in expanding spiral. Let me deselect that first. Expanding spiral to exit the bottom one. And now let me just make sure that the ones that I wanted got there. Okay, so that's paint splatter, that's good. That's turbulent noise, that's good. That is nebulous, that's good. And that is expanding spiral, that's good. What really matters at this point is that the transitions that you add are all different from each other. There's 4 different total, and they're all weird and wacky transitions, nothing simple. So that should be it for the video. We've added all the effects and the transitions that we need, so the video's done. Now we are going to look at the audio. And the audio is actually even easier. So what I'm going to do, just to make our lives a little bit easier, is the only effect we're going to add is vibrato, and we're going to add it to both the tracks. So I'm going to add it first before I duplicate it, to save us some time. So again, this is kind of loosey-goosey. You don't have to apply a specific vibrato as long as the audio sounds weird enough, but I will show you what I did last time. For both of the tracks, I changed the range of the pitch from -6 to 6. So that was what both of these had in common. So now that I've applied that, I'm going to duplicate the track, and we're going to go to the top one. It doesn't matter if this is the top or the bottom. And one of them, the vibrato, should be going down with a rate that's fairly low. So I usually do 3 hertz. Anything around 3 hertz is okay. So this one's done. Then we will go to the second one, and we're actually going to make this go up. Uh-oh. I seem to have made an extra point by mistake. So let me bring that back to the default. There we go. And this should be faster. So I'll usually do 9. Something else you could try is to make the one that warps the pitch up go slow and the one that warps the pitch down go fast. I don't know. It's something I never really thought of before. This is just the default. And now we should play the video because we have 2 tracks. Chances are there's going to be some clipping, so I'm actually going to turn down the volume. And we're going to pay attention to the audio levels over here. Okay, so not much clipping, less than a decibel is pretty good. So usually what I do when I see this red number up top is what it's telling me is that the volume is too high by this number of decibels. So I'm going to reduce the volume by whatever's up there plus 0.1. So I'm going to subtract 1 decibel from the volume. And now I'm going to play it at full volume. And let's see what this looks like. Now, I don't know about you, but that looked and sounded pretty broken to me. And that is indeed the entirety of the Who Broke It effect. We really only use a few effects. I've done effects that have involved a lot more filters, but really I feel like this is probably the best bang for your buck in terms of how weird the video looks and sounds relative to how many plugins that you ended up using to make it get to this point. So at this rate, the effect is complete. I will just very quickly show you just a final rerun of all the filters involved. So on the outset, I duplicated the video track and the audio track. To either one of the tracks, I'm going to add the invert effect at the very beginning with the preset, the default preset, so a complete inversion. And then I'm going to add the color curves with the infrared preset. Then I will add TV Simulator with the reset to none preset. So the only thing that I'm actually changing is the line sync. To the second track, I'm basically doing the same thing, but I'm not applying the invert effect anywhere. So the invert effect can be on this track or this track, just as long as it's not on both, because then the colors are going to be too similar. To the two audio tracks, I am applying vibrato with a range of -6 to 6. One of the tracks, the vibrato will warp the pitch down, and it's going to have a low frequency. And the other one, the vibrato will warp the pitch up, and it will have a high frequency. And when all of this is combined, your video will have, a severe clash of colors. It'll be very wobbly and distorted, and the audio will be very, nearly unintelligible. And frankly, that is the point. So I really hope this goes smoothly, because I'll find out when I edit this and put it together on YouTube whether everything went okay. But I do hope that people understand. I have been trying to make this tutorial happen, and I've just run into some issues. And, feel free to ask any questions that you have in the comments. I hope this was informative, and have a good day.